It's Exodia here, and today I'm going to show you how to apply foundation to your skin, especially if you have dry skin. This is probably like the best video for you because it's for dry skin. Anyways, I'm using concealer because I'm out of my foundation and I want like a really full coverage beat today. It is what it is. You could totally do this technique with foundation too. It's totally up to you. With that being said, let's jump right into this. I kind of forgot to tell you what I was going to be using. So I'm using the Makeup Revolution Concealer and IT Cosmetics Concealer. Together, I have the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye in the shade Medium, and I have the Makeup Revolution Ultimate Coverage, and I have the Makeup Revolution Pro Ultimate Coverage Crease Proof Concealer in the shade C8. So, with that being said, let's jump right into the demonstration part of this video. And since these are such emollient products, and they're not quite my shade yet, I'm going to mix a tiny bit of my Anastasia eye base, or the eye primer. This dries down really matte, and I feel like it helps these two guys dry down too. And I don't want them to dry down like totally flat, but this is definitely going to help. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly demonstrate how I use them. So I do like to mix these two. I actually have the shade C6. I don't know where it's at though. My toddler hid it. But it's 2 shades down from this. This is C8. And so what I do is I mix the 2 shades together. And C6 is pretty close to this medium in IT Cosmetics. Which, by the way, they've repackaged this. And I believe the formulation is a little bit more different. But don't quote me on that. I mix them. So I've mixed them on the back of my hand. My hands are clean. They're sanitized, as is everything I'm using here. You could totally use a mirror or a mixing tray. You just want to make sure it's clean. So I will go ahead and I will tap this just to the center of my face. My skin is prepped with the Cerave Daily Moisturizer, the lightweight formula. It is eczema approved and super awesome. And now I'm going to go ahead and lightly spread this product. You see how much coverage it has. I really like to focus on covering up my redness and giving myself like an even base first before I really do my full makeup routine. Foundation wise, I've found myself steering away from foundation more and more and looking for a more hydrating complexion balm, something that can give me a light tint all over but also help with the hydration in my skin that I need so very badly. So kind of tapping this in, like I said, try not to rub too much. I'm doing kind of like a press and roll motion around my nose because that is where most of my texture lies, and I want to make sure the product is in my skin but I'm not moving around I'm not moving it into like any flakes, dead flakes of skin. So I'm gonna just come in closer here. I definitely do need more coverage, but I do, like I said, build up. I don't want my face to look cakey. That is the last thing that I need. So again, just tapping into product. You could use a sponge for this. However, I find it shears out my foundation coverage as well as my concealer, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. We're going to use the sponge in a second here, but I want to get as much coverage as possible and then take away from places I don't need, because you don't want full coverage everywhere. That's how you get that cake face look, and as you wear your makeup throughout the day, it's going to look worse and worse and worse. At least with dry skin. I can't vouch for everyone, but it definitely runs true for drier skin. I do have hyperpigmentation around my mouth. It's not severe, but it's definitely like very olive. There we go. Oof, a little too much, but that's totally okay. We're gonna go in with the sponge. See, and this is what I mean about building up slowly. Again, around my nose. I'll press this into the skin. And I'm not pressing as firm as it looks, by the way. Just wanted to say that. Now I'm going to take a damp beauty sponge here, and I'm going to press and roll. This helps push product into the skin, but it also helps with texture. It's not going to let any skin, like raise up and emphasize dry patches. I do want to mention the key to any successful foundation application is definitely your preparation. If you're not regularly exfoliating dead skin or moisturizing your base, you will have a lot more problems that you will run into upon application. That being said, with eczema-prone skin, you don't want to rub and irritate that dry patch of skin. So, I recommend using a very damp, gentle cloth and using light circular motions just to get off a little bit of the dead skin. Nothing too crazy. You're not going to rub hard. That's just going to help. And everything else afterwards will be used, will be applied and, just soothe the skin and everything. But you really, really don't want to wear makeup during a flare-up. I know this sounds redundant considering that's what I'm doing after a flare-up, or towards the end of mine. But you really do want to let your skin try to breathe and heal. I'm looking for as many products as I can that are eczema friendly that'll actually help during a flare-up. And there's a few products I've ordered from a couple of brands that should be here this week. So I'm going to test those out and post that review for you all next week. Okay, so I've blended in my concealer. As you can tell, I hope my camera will focus. All along this portion right here is where I suffer from most of my texture. And with proper base preparations as well as pressing my concealer and working it in slowly, I've camouflaged most of that texture. And I've added just enough coverage to even everything out. I do have some texture and dryness going on, so I do have to be more careful on this side of my face right over here. This side has a little texture, but it's nothing too bad as compared to the other side. I'm lightly tapping this in. This side I will just tap and roll. I really let this product warm up and melt closer into my skin. Now I'm going to go ahead and just spot conceal little breakouts here. These are all hormone breakouts. They suck. And they're very discolored underneath foundation. But I'm just doing this today to spot conceal. I don't really care to wear foundation today. Alright, now that I'm all done applying my product and everything's warm and even, whatever's left over, I'm going to apply it to my eyelids as a primer for my shadows. And I'm just lightly tapping. This is also going to help set everything into place. There's no additional product on my sponge. It's just a nice, clean, damp sponge. Now that my face is fully prepped, I'm going to go in with just my damp beauty sponge here. It's actually more on the dry side, and I'm just going to go in and lightly tap everything just to make sure I grab any excess product that might cause creasing later on. And you see how it just smooths everything out? It's like the final touch. For powder, I'm going to go in with my NYX No Filter powder. This is a finishing powder, and it's very different from a setting powder. Finishing powders tend to be a lot more lightweight and a little bit more luminous. They're not intended to set the face. They're intended to finish everything. So I know it sounds a little counterintuitive to use a tinted powder to finish your face off, and it kind of blurs everything together and blends everything together. It's like your final touch to your makeup. I'm using it before I put everything on because I like the luminosity it gives my skin, and it does kind of help even out all of the color going on my face as well. So I'm using a nice light fluffy powder brush. You want to use a more stippling motion when you apply, and try to hold your brush from the end of it. I'm just going to keep pressing this all over. So I'll be right back after I've applied everything else I normally would apply, and we'll go from there. This is a little strange. I'm kind of doing like a vlog style outro, but motherhood got the best of me. We all understand how that goes. You know, you have plans for one thing and life goes and decides another. I really hope this is helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing all of you in my next video. Bye!